Okay, we're up to the Mishnah. We don't need the books tonight. Right. So the Mishnah Chavdalit, we get a little reprieve from Yibum, a little bit. Not much. No, the truth is this is the Ikka, very, very important, very important. We should give you the pasuk before. The pasuk says, "V'hoya b'chor kiyesh v'yach v'yachtav," right? And the guy mace. Anyways, now B'hoya b'chor asher teleid, the b'chor asher teleid, the b'chor that is born, the b'chor asher teleid, the b'chor that is what is born. Who's in the waiting room? B'hoya b'chor asher teleid, Yakum Hashem achiv hames v'lo yimach shmoi Yisrael. So Pashat, guys, you learn Pshat in the pasuk that a man dies, his brother takes the man's wife, and then the bechor that is born, right, should be called after his father. He should be called after his father, that his name should not be erased. So Pashat, you learn b'hoya bechor sheteled is going on the child that's born, and we're going to see this whole pasuk is we learn the opposite way. The whole pasuk the opposite way, as we're going to see. Mitzvah begadol yabim. There's a few brothers. There's a mitzvah on the gadol on the oldest brother liyabim to do yibum. We saw machlokes, guys, early in the Masechta between Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan as to what is the status of the other brother after the brother does yibum or chalitza. Are they also, is she free that she's no zika anymore? Is she not an Eshesach anymore? Or should only be an Eshesach, right? Only to that brother, not an Eshesach. But for the other ones, they would be Eshesach. Reish Lakish said that only the one that did it would she be permitted to. The other ones would not be Eshesach. And Rabbi Yochanan says they did the shlichus of all the brothers. They did the shlichus. So the Mishnah says, mitzvah begadol is a mitzvah with the gadol. What's the problem? Knock, you can't get in. Why can't you get in? You're not even here. Chaim. Okay, we're doing the Mishnah on Daf Chav Dalid, and the Mishnah you should be familiar with the pasuk v'hoya b'chor sheteled, the b'chor that is born. Yakum Hashem achiv should go ahead and be established and get the brother's name, and v'lo yimach shmoi Yisrael, that the person's name should not be erased. Okay, so now says the Mishnah, mitzvah begadol. It's the mitzvah of the gadol to go ahead and perform yibum liyabim. So you have a few brothers. The eldest brother does it. And if the younger brother beats him to the punch, if he would go ahead and cut zacha. In other words, we don't say the mitzvah is only to him, but if another brother would do it, he would go ahead and take off the zika from the Yevamot. Tarabban. The pasuk. What?
She say no to the younger brother because really nothing.
Tarabban. V'hoya b'char asher teled v'hoya b'char. Right. So mikan. Mitzvah begadol. When it says a bechor, the mitzvah is begadol liyabe. Now, this is really unique, guys, because the literally context of the pasuk is v'hoya bechor. The baby that's born should be called after his dead uncle. Right? That's what's going on. Says the pasuk, no, v'hoya bechor is going on the eldest brother. We'll see why Daf going to use the lashon of bechor. But it's going on the eldest brother. Again, that's not pshat in the pasuk. If you read the pasuk literally, and the bechor that's born should be called after the brother's name. No, bechor means what? It means the eldest brother. The pasuk continues asher teled. Now asher teled is extra, because once guys, the bechor is not speaking about the baby that's born. Asher Teled is not him because it's going to the older brother. The older brother is born already. This is Rashi and Yud Beis. This is again. So it's Asher Teled. It's extra. So what does it teach me? Pratla islandess, to teach me that there is no zika by an islandess. In other words, an islandess, there is no yibum by an islandess. Since an islandess, again, you might recall that's a woman who over time exhibits characteristics of a male. So that case, that woman, that woman does not fall to Yibum. We saw earlier, Machlokes of Asi and Rava, Saris islandness, whether as a result the Isra of Eishasach is upon her, which would create an erva to the Tsara. Okay, that's what we discussed earlier. We discussed Saris islandness, but less man de Pola, guys. There's no din of Yibum by the islandness itself. No one disagrees. Shane says the word Pralayla Shane Ledes Yakum al Shem Achiv. Now it says Yakum al Shem Achiv. You know what that means? It means L'Nachla. It means he will get the Nachla of his brother. His brother, he inherits his brother, even though usually brothers would be in line to inherit each other. He, the one that's miyabim, this dead brother, gets everything. Guys, literally it says Yakum Hashem Achiv means that what? Use it to tell me that the child will get the name of the dead brother. So Yosef Karasa Yosef, Yochanan Karasa Yochanan. So Nema Yakum al Shem Achiv. It says over here by the Parsha of Yibum, be established al Shem Achiv. V'nema lahalan. It says by Ephraim and Menashe al Shem Achayim Yikru benachlasam. Ma Shem Amar lahalan Nachla. Just like by Menashe and Ephraim, Shem is used in context with what? With Nachla. Af Shem Amar Kan by Yibum is Nachla. So now the way we dashed in the pasuk, guys, V'hoya Bechar, the eldest brother, Asher Tele Pratla Islandis. All right, Pratla Islandis, a Yakum al Shem Achiv, that the brother inherits what? Gets the Nachla. That's the way. Mamish, the Torah show up here taking a pasuk and apart, Mamish uprooting the whole thing. What? We just want to prove the word shame. It means Nachla. That's all. The name shame. The word shame, guy, it's very good. All I have to prove, it doesn't make it difference how many people inherit, just it's used in conjunction with inheritance, right? So therefore, you're telling me it doesn't mean Mendi Dukayin, you're telling me it means Yerusha. Where do you know shame means Yerusha? I can bring you a raya from Ephraim Menashe means Yerusha. What's your question?
So over there, they split it. And over here,
it means we're not talking about the actual, it doesn't speak about you just want to say that the person name can be used in conjunction with Nachla. You're not giving specific halachas. You're not learning the halacha from there. You just want to learn that the Shem means Nachla. Now, says the Gemara, and his name should not be erased. My recording is paused. Oh my gosh.
You started it.
I started it. I don't know what's going on.
It says recording.
Okay, good.
I have a question. If the Cotton takes it over, does he get the Yerusha?
Yes, whoever would go ahead and do the Yibum would get the Yerusha.
Right.
Whoever would go ahead, he would get the Yerusha. He would get the Yerusha. It says, his name should not be erased from Yisrael. That's the end of the pasuk. Pratla Saris, this would exclude a Saris Sheshmai Machui. In other words, if the brother is a Saris is someone who's missing his genitalia. If he can't have children. So if he's a Saris, he can't have children, there's no din of Yibum. If he dies, there's no din of Yibum. If he dies, there's no din of Yibum for him. Okay. What? Let's say he got married and then he became a Saras. Okay, So now, Rava says Rava.
There's no Yibum for him, and he can't do Yibum either.
For sure not.
It's both.
He's out. Rava. Afal gav the bechola terakula ein mikro yotzim midei pshutai. Even though in kol terakula psukim are pretty much taken in context. In other words, there's pshuta shel mikra. Of course, there's always the halachas we extrapolate and extricate from Gemaras, and the pasuk the Torah Shebal Peh defines the Torah Shebal Chsav. But to take a pasuk totally and say that this pasuk is not the way it's read, this is the only time. This is the only time, because this pasuk that you think is talking about a child, it's not talking about a child at all. It's not talking about a child at all. So Amar Rav, so Afagav the B'chol Torah Kula a Mikra Yotzim de Pshutai Hacha Asik Zereshava and Afiknim Mipashte. Over here comes along the Zereshava of shame, and it goes ahead and it uproots it completely. It uproots it completely. Mamish, that it's speaking what? About it's speaking, it's not speaking about the brother, it's speaking about the brother, it's not speaking about the child. It's not speaking, that's what Shava comes along and tells me, you know what it's speaking about? It's speaking about Nachla. Let's see Rashi here, guys. The afagav the dashinan lay lidrasha midei pshutai miolei nafik legami. Usually there are psukim that we darshan, but usually you don't leave context completely. However, over here comes along the Shava the afik de legamri. Shein tzarich likras ben loy b'shem achiv. Guys, what does the pasuk say? V'hoya b'chor asher yakum yikra al shem achiv. He should be called after Yakum al Shem Achiv. I just made that up. Yakum al Shem Achiv, right? What does that mean? The child that's born should be named after his brother. Guess what? It doesn't mean that. So your mom is taking the pasuk and saying it means Nachla. It's incredible. It's incredible. Usually psukim, even if you darshan the psukim, the context remains intact. Over here, the context does not remain intact at all. Bechlal not. Right. Now, says the Gemara the following. Listen to this Gavaldiga Kasha. Fred the Gemara Kasha. You mean to tell me the only way you know that you leave context is because of the Gezerah Shava? I will show you, even without the Gezerah Shava, you can't stay within context. In other words, I'll show you without the shame, that even so you can't darshan it the way you think to darshan it. Okay. Now, who are you speaking to, guys? Who the Torah is going ahead and speaking to someone, right? Good. So let's say you're speaking to what? The brother. Look like the miyabim. You're speaking to the miyabim. V'hoya b'char, and the b'char that you sire, Yakum al Shem Achiv, will be called after his brother. Not his brother. Your brother. Achicha, it should say. Guys, in other words, if you take it literally, if he's speaking to the Yavam, so what do you tell the Yavam? And the Bechor that's born, Yakim al Shem, his brother. It can't mean that. Because it should say, al Shem Achicha, your brother. Now, let's say Bezdin is doing the job. So you tell Bezdin, and the Bechor that's born should be named after what? That Bezdin's going to name it his son? It should be what? It should be named after the Achiv of this guy. Says the Gemara. Who are he speaking to? If not for Gezerah Shava, Amina Shem Mamish, you would think Shem means you have to call him Yosef. His father's name is Yosef. Yochanan, the father's name is Yochanan. Leman Kamazir Rachmana. Who's the Torah being Mazir? Who's the Torah speaking to? Li Yavam. If it's speaking to the Yavam who's going to do Yibum, Yakum Hashem Achichami Boile. You should say what? Be named after your brother, not his brother. Ila Beidina Yakum. The Bezdin. Then the Bezdin is Mitzvah. Then Bezdin should be Al Shem Achi Aviv. It should be named after what? His father, his brother's, the brother of his father. His father's brother. Miboile. Says Rachmana leBezdin Amrulei liyavam. That Bezdin should speak to the Yavam. In other words, Bezdin's not speaking directly. Bezdin's not commanded to name the child. Guys, again, if Bezdin would name the child, it should say, and Bezdin should call it after Achi Aviv. If Bezdin's naming the child, it should call it after the name Achi Aviv, of the brother of his father. Guys, let me get that straight again one more time. If Bezdin's naming the child, so they say, we're going to call the child after his father, brother. That's dead, right? The father's brother, that's dead. Good. So you see that it can't be going on the Yavam. It can't be going on Bezdin. So why do you need the Gezerah Shava? Obviously, it can't mean going on the name. Obviously, it can't be going on the name. It doesn't fit in the Lashon of context. It doesn't fit in Achiv with Achicha if it named him, and it's not Achi Aviv if Bezdin's naming him. Says, well, 1 second. I need the Gezerah Shava. What are you talking about? I need the Gezerah Shava. You know why? The following reason. Vidil mahachi ka'amaluhu. Rachmana lebezdin. The Torah is telling Bezdin, Omru leili yavam, that you should tell the yavam, Yakam Hashem achiv. You should, in other words, you're commanding Bezdin not to name the child. You're commanding Bezdin to tell the person that has the child should name him after his brother, and then it's going on the name, and it does fit in context, and that's why you need to say Shavav Shame. One more time, guys. No fiasco on the outside corner. One more time. Watch. I can fit Freddie Marakasha. Why do you need the Gezerah Shava of shame to tell me it means Nachla and it doesn't mean naming the child? Even without the shame, it doesn't mean naming the child. Because who are you speaking to? If you're speaking to the brother, it should be called that he has to name it. It should be Hashem Achicha, your brother. If it's speaking about Bezdin doing the name, it should say Bezdin on the brother of the father. Good. Neither one is said. It says Achiv. Says the Gemara, no, I got a pshat that Bezdin is commanded to tell the Yavam. You should name, Bezdin is told to tell the Yavam to name the child after his brother, and that works. So now you don't leave context. Says the Gemara, very good now. Ela Asi Gezerah Shava comes along, shame, afikte legamre, it uproots it completely and tells me that what? That it's it's not going after the name. It's not, but it's going after what? Nachla. Hashta the Amrit Kra begadol ksiv. Now that you told me it's speaking about God. So let's just recap, guys. Let's just recap. V'hoya habechar asher teleid, v'hoya bechar, and the older brother, the oldest brother, asher teleid, prala islandis, Yaakam Hashem achiv, should go ahead and he'll inherit his brother. V'leimach Shemay B'Yisrael, and his name, right? And to tell me it in a service, right? That's the pasuk. That's the pasuk. That's the pasuk. Says the Gemara Vaita. Hashta the Armit Kra begadol ksiv. Now that you tell me that the pasuk is speaking about a gadol, ema bechar liyavam pashet lo yavam. Right? Tell me a bechar can do yibam and a pashet cannot do yibam. Guys, you're telling me that bechar is going on the brother, right? So now let's fit it in. The bechar, who's the bechar? The gadol. So therefore, who is mitzvah to do yibam? The eldest brother. Maybe then there's no one else that could do yibam. Maybe only the eldest brother. Good. We had a limud, guys. Kiyeshva achim yachtav. Two brothers are in the world at the same time. What do we learn from that? Eishes achiv shloi hayev alamo. Why would you need a limud if the only one who could do it is the bechar? So if there's one brother and he dies, that's it. Elo, you needed a limud to tell me no, that if a brother is born afterwards, he can't do yibam. So obviously, if you needed that, you're not limited to the bechar. It could be other brothers as well. So therefore, it can't be that pshat. Fred the Gemara Kasha. In Kain, Parach Rav Acha, the Ema Lemute Buchra the Ema. I'll tell you guys why you need Eshes Acha Shlayah Lamo. I'll tell you why you need that. Let's say a man has two wives, right? He has one wife gives born to this child, and this child is a man, and he promptly dies, and he has no children. Good. And he has another wife, and that wife has a boy, but that boy is born after what? After the guy dies. Is that guy a bechar? Certainly is. Bechar goes after Petarechem. It goes after the first thing from the womb. So this child is a bechar. And you need Eishes Achiv Shleihoyel Balamo to tell me what? Even though he's a bechar, he can't be in the parsha. So back to the original question. Maybe only a bechar can do yibum and not a regular child. And you can't bring me a raya from Eishes Achiv Shleihoyel Balamo because I need that to be mitzi to excuse another bechar that's born after the other one dies. Two becharim, one from each mother. This one's born after the death of this one. I need the pasuk Kiyeshu Yachim Yach to tell me this guy's not in the parsha, because if he was born, he would be in the parsha. You know why? Because he's a bechar. Guy's good, very good. Says the Gemara. No, Ahuloi matzas amrit. You can't say it's the bechar of the mother. Why? The yibum benachla tali rachmana, benachla min ha'av. If you have a woman, a man has a few. If the bechar is the first one that he has, in other words, there's two becharim. There's a din of bechar that requires a pidyon aben. That's the first thing out of a mother's womb, and then there's nachla who gets pishnayim. If a man has 4 wives and each one has the bechar, the first one gets pishnayim. So of course it's tali. So that's the first one to him. So since it's tali benachla, guys, I think what I'm telling you is true. If I remember from Yesh Neichlin, I think I'm telling you is true. So I hope so. If not, I'll let you know. So the bechar in achla goes after the father. So Mamela, you wouldn't need the pasuk for that bechar because there's no havamina that the bechar born from the mother afterwards would be a bechar in yibum because it's not the one linear nachla. So therefore, you have a good raya. Therefore, you need to tell me that a pashut could do it, but if you're born afterwards, you can't. We're going to exhaust this hoya bechar as much as we can. We're going to take it all the way down the line. Now, let's say there's no bechar. Maybe there's no yibum. In other words, if there's no bechar, maybe there's no yibum. Cotton. How can you say that? The bechar dies, and then the cotton's miyabim. Fred the moment the ema the mace cotton vam rachman aliyabim bechar, right? The ema the mace cotton vam rachman aliyabim bechar that the bechar does yibum. Only then, right? When the young one dies, is there a mitzvah of yibum? Only when he dies is there a mitzvah of yibum. Says the Gemara 1 second. Hamir rachmana ishlach shleya balamo. They can't possibly be that because obviously we had to be a younger brother not being in the world. If there's no bechar, then the cotton could be zaycha. And if there's a bechar, then the cotton goes first. He's not zaycha. The Mishnah said if the cotton beats him to the punch, then the cotton does the job. Maybe that's only when there's not a bechar, but when there is a bechar, not. They're all equal. When do we say Amishti go after Gadol? It's only when it's a Bechar. But if there's no Bechar, you won't go after your eldest brother. In other words, we're exhausting the Lashon Bechar. So we're saying, Bechar, maybe this din of Gadol is only when he's a Bechar. If he's not a Bechar, then Lav Dafka. Says Alamatani Abakshisha. Abakshisha on that says, Mitzvah begadol yabim. Lei Ratza, then Holchem Eitzel Achavakot, and then you go down the line. Lei Ratza, Chayzun Eitzel Gadol. So l'chayra, you see that what? You go back. It says the Gemara kibachar. No. Ma bechar b'chayras le'gar maloi. Just like a bechar, it says bechar that causes him to get pishnayim. Af gadol gados le'gar maloi. So to the elder one causes him to what? Get it back. Ve'ema kimiyabim bechar lishkal nachla kimiyabim pashalei lishkal nachla. The question that I think who asked that? Chaim asked it. Who asked it? Actually, who asked it? When Mendy, you asked it that the cotton gets the nachla. Right, the cotton. Okay.
I asked it. Bosco.
Bosco, yeah. You asked that. That's correct. Anyway, so weiter. Anyway, so very good. So Heshi and Shalom asked that when you have over here that the nachla, the bechol nachla, so the chayra maybe only the bechor gets the nachla and not what, and not the youngest. Amakra Yakum Hashem Achiv, very come. Yakum Hashem Achiv, he's going to get the nachla. Whoever's come Hashem Achiv, whoever comes and takes the brachas place is going to get the nachla. So now the question is, you've exhausted anything about the bechor. It only means gadol, correct? So why did the Torah say gadol? Why does it say bechor? Why did you use the lashon of bechor? Right, says Gemara Legriyusa. Used it for to be detrimental. Why? Ma bechor ein anoitel b'roi kiv muchzik, af hai ein anoitel b'roi kiv muchzik. Okay, there's a halacha, guys, outside. There's a halacha like this. We know a bechor gets pishnayim. He gets double portion. He gets a double portion. So if you'd have two brothers, whatever they have, they would break it up into 3 parts, and he would take 2 parts. He takes 2/3. Bechor takes 2/3. He only takes 2/3 in what is found under the father's hands at the time of the father's death. At the something that comes afterwards, that's roi, that's not muksik. Muksik in the lashon of chazaka. It's in your jurisdiction. What's not in your jurisdiction, you don't take pishnayim. So too over here, the same thing. If the father dies, when the father dies, whatever that nachla that brother would get, brother would only be le'inyum what's found. But if it comes in later, not. So it's the geusa that we say. Now, since we're discussing people about, we have discussions about, we said earlier that if the two do yibum, right? The two do yibum, you're not ein mitzvah miyada. Yesterday, we had a case. They were supposed to, one do chalitza, one's supposed to do yibum, and they both did yibum. We said they could stay together. Why? Because the second yibum took off the zika of the first one, and you didn't have a problem with achos kukaso. Correct? That's what we said yesterday. Good. Now, we're going to have a few cases over here, nothing to do with Yevamis, where you'll either let the person stay or not. So we're dealing here with a person that a rumor went about. There was a coil going out that he was involved in some illicit relation, be it with a shifcha, be it with an akum, or be it with an eshes. And depending upon which one it is the severity of the coil. Says the Mishnah, haniton. Now, what does niton mean? It's an interesting lashon. Look at Rashi. Haniton is chashud, is a person that's suspicious. Klaimar shetayinim alav. They make a claim on him. Divrei laz. The laz goes out on him that he was involved in some type of hanky panky. So anital ala shifcha v'nishtachara. A claim goes out against this person that he was with a shifcha, and consequently she was freed. A shifcha that becomes freed becomes a Jewess. Oy al ha'avodas kechavim, that she was involved with a goyeta, v'nisgaira, and the goyeta became a gyaris. Harizela yichnosh, he shouldn't marry them. Harizela yichnosh, you shouldn't marry. However, v'imkonis, if you do marry, ein maitziyim miyadai, and this is why you bring it in. Ein maitziyim miyadai, then you do not have to go ahead and divorce. You should marry, but if you do, you don't have to divorce. Hanita naleshes ish. If, however, the rumor, the claim against them is he was with another woman, mitachas yadai, afapisha konis yaitzi, and v'yitzu, and they took her out mitachas yadai from her husband, right? Afapi shekonas, even if he does marry her, then yaitzi. So then you would go out. So a difference in severity between shivcha and avedas kechavim in the same ballpark. Do not marry, but if you do, stay together. However, a rumor about an Ashes ish, do not marry, and if you do, you leave. Okay. So now, guys, let's make a deal. When it says this avodas kechavim was megayer, good. Why was she megayer? Pashtas, to marry him, right? To marry him, yeah? To marry him. Good. Is it a good geirus? You would think it's not a good geirus, but from our Mishnah, it's clear that it is. Why? Because the Mishnah says in kanos, meaning there's kedushin. If she wasn't a geirus, there's no kedushin. The fact that they could stay together shows it's kedushin. So we're going to get into the geirus. In other words, we're going to digress to discuss a little bit about geirus. It's a good sugya to know.
So the last case, after we did the Kaddish Anisha that's married.
She was divorced.
Oh, she's divorced. I thought she said she was married.
You must have missed that line over there. Right, good. Now, says the Gemara, he should marry her, but clearly she's a giyaris. You know why? Because if he does marry her, he could stay together with her, and meaning it's kedushin. Urimini, I'll ask you a contradiction on this. Echad ish and iskayel l'shem isha, whether it's a guy who is megayer for the purpose of marrying a Jewish woman, the echad isha and iskayel l'shem ish, whether it's a gayish woman who is megayer because of a man, the mishin is gayel l'shem shulchem alachim. She wants to be like eat by the shulchem alachim, meaning she wants to be part of the tribe for good reasons. But no, when the Chai Yisrael are wealthy. L'shem Avdei Shloima, we met them, right? They were Mams Arim. We said Eved Abba Bas Yisrael. They were Choshen that was the end of Talmud. Ain't a Gerim. They're not Gerim. Divrei Nechemia, because all this was not l'shem Shemayim the Gerish. Shayir Nechemia Aimer Echad Giyari Arayas. Whether Gerim as a result of lions. Or they had dreams to become Gerim. Mordechai Esther. And Mordechai Esther, the pasuk says that what? And it says not that what's the lashon? Rabim ma'amei aretz misadim. They came together. They bunch of goyim came together after the same. So ein geirim. Then says Nehemiah, you're not good geirim. Ad sheyizgairu bisman hazeh. Like what do you mean? Bisman hazeh. Says bisman hazeh sapke baitach. Only bisman hazeh you accept geirim. Elema kizman hazeh. Meaning the following. In all these scenarios, there's an ulterior motive to become a ger, be it love, be it wealth, be it security, be it being part of, when the thing Jews are in first place, like Yankee fans, right? Or it used to be, one second, Yankee fans from many years ago. I can't remember the last time, but there was a while ago, right? Anyway, so like that, first place, the Amalekites. Okay, anyway, so getting back to Torah, so we have, if you are Megaya for an ulterior motive, it's not a good geris. So clearly on Mishnah, the assumption is, why was the guy to Megaya to marry this guy? And we're saying it is a good geris. So it's in conflict with Reb Nehemiah. Reb Nehemiah can't be the Tana of our Mishnah. He can't be the Tana of our Mishnah. Says the Gemara, 1 second, not so fast. What does the Gemara say? So, we learned on this, Yitzchak. So, Kizman Azeh means where we're not in first place. The Met fans. Amrav Yitzchak Shmuel Bar Marta Mishmei Derav Halacha Kidivrei Oimer Kulam Gerim Heim. The halacha and Rabbi Yavi, the halacha is it is a good geris. The halacha, if you look it up in Reish Samachei Simon Yudbeis, I looked it up. Even though it's not for the right reason, it is a good geris. So therefore, it's our Mishnah goes like that, not like Reb Nehemiah. Our Mishnah goes like the one that holds that it is a good geris. Fred the Gemara, Ihachi lechatchila nami. Why does it say lo yichnos? If you're telling me hageris is a good geris, why shouldn't this person marry her on the lechatchila? Why shouldn't he marry her? You're telling me if he gets married, he doesn't have to divorce her. If it's a good geris, why can't he marry her in the first place? And for the Gemara Mishum the Ravasi, because Ravasi is thin, it has nothing to do with halachic of ishus. It has to do with midas derech eretz, really. The Amar Rav Asi, Chasa mimcha ikshas peh. Get a pasuk in Mishnah, guys. It should be turned away from you the curvings of mouths, ulezus svasayim, and the bending of lips. In other words, the people are going to be what? People are going to be talking and talking and talking and talking. We've all had situations. I shouldn't say all. I've been exposed to situations where a person supposedly she was a game wrecked the marriage and ending up the husband and the guy that the rumor was ended up marrying her. Now, again, there was no edim to what she did. There's no edim, so she wasn't. It wasn't usher, but certainly by getting married, it doesn't. The gossip mongers are busy. So there's an Indian of hoser mimcha ikshas pet. So it's all an Indian of don't let people talk. There's a rumor about you. Halachically, you can marry her. Don't. If you do, of course, she's a giyari. Stay together. However, if not. Guys, according to the day of Shmuel, the Mashiach, the only difference is going to be people are going to die. It's going to be a regular world. But everyone's going to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So if everyone's going to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you can get many, many Gerim. All of a sudden, there's a clarity that was not there before. And all of a sudden, Mashiach's here. It's clear that the Jews are not, people, money, and controlling the world and everything they say about us. And they clear that who we are, and people want to become part of us. No, similar to that idea, like Kiblu Gerim, Lebi Mei David, Lebi Mei Shloima. They weren't Makabel Gerim, not in the days of David and not in the days of Shloima. Because the days of David and Shloima were very powerful, and again, Shloima ruled the world, and therefore it was like everyone knew the Jews. And as it appeared, people were drawn. So they didn't come. So Amar Elazar, my crow, what's the pasuk? Hein gar yogor efes may I see, right? One who wishes to convert, let him do it with me, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mi gar itcha alayich yipol. Someone who what? Mi gar itcha, who goes, Rashi says, who lives with you, aniyasayach, who goes ahead and lives with you in your aniyas, in your poverty, or in your pain, like then you accept them, but not someone when you're in first place. Now, this is very interesting. So mashma, there was never ever a Giyorim b'mei Shlomo and b'mei David. Guys, the most famous Giyoris of all time is Bas Paro. Bas Paro married Shlomo. Right? Bas Paro married Shlomo. Freg Taisvis. Loy b'mei David b'mei Shlomo. Let's see Taisvis. Mei Itay Hagisi. Itay Hagisi was a ger from David. Ubas, he was in David's one of David's men. Ubas Paroi, b'mei Shlomo like Kasha. Freg Taisvis Kasha. How could you tell me that b'mei David and b'mei Shlomo they didn't accept gerim? B'mei David you had Itay Hagisi, and b'mei Shlomo you had what? You had Bas Paroi. So that's not a shver. Why? Like Kasha. You know why? The midi hu taima elim mishum shulchan malachim. The reason why at this time they would be begayer is because you want to get, you're in a lower position and you want to be up to be mishulchan malachim, to be with David and be with Shlomo. One was a princess and one was a chashuv guy, so they didn't need it. So therefore, when he says may David, may Gerim, he's a regular Joe, but someone who the ulterior motive. Why would they want to become a ger in the first place? It doesn't apply. That we would accept. That we would accept. And they bring in a Gemara later on. It's a fabulous Gemara. I'll tell you the Gemara outside. The Gemara later on. The Gemara says that there was a Rav at the end of David's life. At the end of David's life, there was a really bad, terrible Rav. And he asked, and the answer came back that because what Shol did to the Gevonim. The Gevonim, they were people who, we had them, guys. Those are moms in the Sinim. Those were the Gevonim. And they had gone ahead, they had full Kal Yisrael, and they wanted to kill him, they left him alive. They made them wood choppers and water schleppers for the Kahanim. The Kahanim had good midas, and supposedly the Kahanim would rub off on them, and they had jobs. What happened was when Shol killed out Nover Kahanim, they lost their jobs because there was nothing there. And as a result, they were impoverished. And they decided when David had to go ahead and appease them, and David came to appease them and said, well, I'll give you money and everything. So these Gevonim, obviously, they didn't learn any midas from the Kahanim at all. They said they want revenge. We want Shol's family. They hung up Shol's family. Members of the Shol's family were passed in front of the Aron. The ones that were caught were hung. People were passing by and said, who are those people that are hung? And they said the people who ended up touching Gerim Gerurim. Gerim Gerurim are people who are, the Gerim is not motivated. It's brought on by themselves. So the Chayr, you see, b'nei David, there was Gerim. You had these Gerim. So the Gemara answers, these were Gerim Gerurim. They did it themselves. So that's why V'yeshleima. Then the Atzman, this guy, the Megayiv themselves. There's a very good Mar Makom that discusses this. It's the Rambam in Hilchos. I think it's a Yud Gimel from Yisurei Bia. Yisurei Bia there's a Rambam who speaks about it speaks about Shlomo. It speaks about the Geirus by Shimshon. And Shimshon was Megayer women. It speaks about how could you accept Geirus over there. Shimshon was Megayer women for what? For to be with him. I mean, he speaks about that. So that's a good Mar Makom to go through. So again, it's not that we don't accept Gerim. We of course we talk people out of being Gerim. The halacha is broad. We tell them how difficult it is. But however, for people in Megayer for ulterior motives, in fact, we do accept them, and therefore, our Mishnah could be according to that. So again, the first case of the Mishnah, the case of a rumor regarding a man with a shivcha or a man with a gayeta, and then they promptly become Jews. The shivcha becomes a Jew when she's freed. The gayeta becomes a Jew when she's gayer. You shouldn't get married, not because halachically you can't, but because you don't want to go ahead and give fodder to the rumor mill that people hasim imcha. You should go ahead and remove from you what ikosh peh. You should remove from yourself any of that. Okay, says Nora Vaita. Hanitan alei shesish. What about nitan alei shesish? So Amar Rav ube'edim, says Rav, you know what? This is not a rumor. This is Aiden. This Aiden that she had gone ahead and she be disloyal. What? Asabal vasalaboil. Okay. So Amar Rav Sheshes. Amina kinayim v'shachar Rav amalai shmaitza. So I must think Rav was sleeping when he said this. You see the sugya. The Tanya. Hanitan al eshes ish. If there's a rumor goes out, a person with eshes ish. But Tziyu al yadai, and Bezdin forces to get divorced. She marries somebody else. So there's a rumor about this person. She gets divorced from that husband, marries somebody else, and then gets divorced from that second person. In konas, if a person that you have who the rumor went with lo yatsi, then he doesn't have to go. Now, hechi dami, what are you talking about? If there's edim, ki asa acher uva afske lekola my have. In other words, the kol went out. She met the kol. He hung up. He always does the same thing. It's always hits you in the middle of share. At least he's can. Hey Yitzi, guess what? You know where I am? Yeah, say hello to Benji.
Yitzi.
Say hello, hi Yitzi.
Hi, Yitzi.
Talk to you later. Okay, great timing. You have to get together for the draft this year.
Why don't you buy him a watch?
What? No, there's certain people have an internal clock for things. You know, it just is. It's not like he calls me every single day. It's not like he calls me every single month. He calls me during share. I mean, that it seems to be that's his alarm clock. So I love guys who give eights for things that are it's appreciated. At least he calls, right? Okay, geschmack. Okay, so guys, now we have a problem. Rav says it's speaking that you can't, if you take her in, you have to let her go. It's speaking where there's aidis to this illicit relation. Fred the Gemara Kasha. We have a case over here. You had a rumor. She left the original husband, goes to another husband, gets divorced from that husband, and now ends up with the rumor they could stay together. 1 second. If there's Eidim, how could they stay together? The halacha is by Eidim, it's asal labal, it's asal to the husband, asal laboil, and it's asal to the person who was with. So if we have Eidim that she was with this guy, what difference does it make if there was a divorce in between? No way in the world is she able to stay with this guy. It's asal laboil. That's the kasha on Rav. Okay? Says the Gemara. One more time. If the guy who had the coil went out with marries her, now hechi dami. If there's edim that there was an illicit affair, when another person comes along, we have scale the by going and getting married her. My havi, who cares? Elalava must be the leka edim, and the reason why he can stay together with her. The time of the asi acher v'afskei l'kola. In other words, where he takes it directly, and there's a rumor, and then they get married. That's no good. Where is the rumor and she marries somebody else? Then that was pasik the rumor because she married somebody else. Then they could stay together. Holav hachi, without the piece of the rumor by marrying somebody else. Mafkinon. Then you would go ahead and separate. Guys, you hear? One more time. Says Rav, this din of Eishasish that you have to go ahead and leave is speaking of Eidim. Fred the Gemara, how could you say it's speaking of Eidim? I'm giving you a brisa that says the following. The brisa says, if there's a rumor and there's a marriage in between, she can stay with the guy. Now, 1 second. The reason she could stay with the guy is because there was another guy in between. That was mafsik between that and the coil. If the other guy wasn't in between, even though there's no Eidim, they'd have to leave. So what are you telling me? So it says the way. And Eidim, and if there's Eidim, then it should make a difference of piece of coil or not. A lot of the leka Eidim, the time of the reason why she could stay together with the person of the rumor, the asi acher, because another person came along, the afskei lekola. Halav hachi mafkinan. So what does Rav do with that? Amalach Rav, hu adin afagav de lo yasa acheru v'afskel kola. Bemes, it doesn't make a difference. She's going to have to get divorced. Whether she was married to somebody else, not married to somebody else, you have to get divorced. I'ika edim mafkinan, ileka edim lo mafkinan. In other words, it doesn't make a difference whether it all depends upon edim. If there's edim, no matter how many people she marries, gone. And if there's no edim, with no matter how many people's in between, she could, or no peer person, she could stay together. No person she could stay together. And this is what the Bryce is saying. The afagav, the aser acher, fa'afschil kola, even though a person comes along and is placed at the kol, lichatchila lo yichnos. Lichatchila don't get married. So here's the chiddush, guys. Watch. Says Rav, our Mishnah that says don't get married, and if you do, you have to get divorced, is speaking where there's edim that there had been something. It's not a coil, it's not a rumor, there was a substantiation. Good. Yes, the Gemara on Rav, how could you say that's true? Here we have a case where it says that if there's a marriage in between, they could stay together. Says Rav, no. If there's edim, they can never stay together. The chiddush of this case is that the only reason why that yichnos, he can marry her, because there was somebody in between. If there was no one in between, even though there's no edim, he should not marry her. That's the chiddush is. Lechatchila lo yichnos. Since there was no pisik of the rumor, there was no one going ahead and breaking the rumor. Therefore, what? Another question. Another question on Rav with Adam. That what if she marries him, she leaves? When do we say, guys, if she marries him, she leaves? Is what kishein bonim? That's if she doesn't have bonim from the first husband. Guys, watch. Imagine this. There's a rumor that this woman was involved with a man. She has children from her first husband. She has children from her first husband. And that is a rumor that she was another man and we make her get divorced. What reputation do you think these children might have? They might be mamzerim. Maybe what? The father's not the father. So to avoid that problem, after we say that she has to leave, right, when she marries the person that the rumor was about, is only if there's no children from the first marriage, from the marriage. But if there's children, then what? Not, because we're worried about the chashash. We might speak about the children that look, if she did it with this guy, maybe, who knows? Maybe they're his kids. Who knows? Says the Gemara. Meisive, that if she marries this guy, she has to leave. Is kishein leibonim from the first husband. Aval yesh leibonim, if there's bonim from the first husband, and even though what? The husband divorces her, loy say, then if she marries this second guy, the one that had a rumor with, you stay together. What's the kasha, guys? Vimbo eidei tuma, afilu yesh lakama bonim teitze. However, if there's Aiden that she actually did something, then unfortunately we can't go ahead and say to stay together. Asla bal, asla boil, and then we don't care about the children. So 1 second. So Rav, what are you going to do with this? You say, Rav, what you were saying, according to you, Rav, right? You're telling me, Rav, right? You're telling me what's the Aiden to finish, right? So what do you mean that Medvan Mum says tomorrow? Rav Mukila Masnisan. Rav will say, our Mishnah is speaking, V'yesh bonim, there's children. V'yesh Eidim, and there's Eidim. There's children and there's Eidim, and therefore she has to leave. Now, why did you have to do this? And therefore they stay together because they're children. Why not? Guys, there's 2 ways we can make her leave this marriage. Guys, look. There's 2 ways we can make her leave the marriage. Either because there's children and Eidim, or because there's no children at all and no Eidim. No children and no Eidim, you leave because of the suspicion. Yes, Eidim and children, despite the fact that the reputation of the children may take a plunge, leave. Rav opts for the Eidim children approach rather than what? The no Eidim and no children approach. Why? In both cases, you're going to have to leave. Why did Rav say the Mishnah is speaking that Messias? Right? That's the teretz to the kasha. Now, what motivated Rav to do that? Let's see, guys, inside. Amar Rava, Masnisan Kashisa. The Mishnah, the lashon of the Mishnah was difficult to Rav. That again, that Rav doesn't want to say it's speaking without any children, with no Eidim. My area Tani Hoitziuha. That means Bezdin made her leave, guys. They removed her. Who's they? As Bezdin going to remove on a coil, you need Eidim. That's forced Rav. The lashon of Hoitziuha motivated Rav. You got to say it's speaking their Eidim, because if there's no Eidim, Bezdin is not going to forcing a divorce. Says the Gemara, my ear the Tani Hoitziuha, listening Hoitzia, just Hoitzia. Elakol Hatziu v'Bezdin. They forced her out of speaking with Bezdin. Who Bezdin be'edim hu demafka, and Bezdin is with Eidim. So one teretz why Rav said the Mishnah is speaking be'edim, and that's why she leaves, is because the lashon of Haitziuha, it's more geschmack in the lashon of the pshat. A second possibility, the Iba Yisema, Rav says even below bonim, you're not going to take her out without Eidim. He's chelik on the brisa. Guys, look. What was the other option? No children, no Eidim, leave. Rav disagrees with that. That's why you had to say it's speaking about Eidim. Rav disagreed. You only had one approach. The Havamina was, why do you go this direction? You go this direction. There's only one direction. Rav holds there is no such thing as what? As staying together. There's no such thing as staying together without no such thing as staying together. If what? If we, even though there's no Eidim, with a Bonim, you're not staying together. Says the Gemara. Says the Gemara inside. Biba Yisema, Rav Hamastis and Rebbe he. It's according to Rebbe. The price is according to Rebbe. The price that it said that you leave what with, if you don't have children, you can leave without children. The brisa that's according to Rebbe. That goes according to Rebbe. We'll meet Rebbe in a second, guys. Look at the Rashi. 2 lines where it gets wide. Biba Yisema. Biba Yisema. Beloy bonim loy nafka beloy edim. Beloy bonim, you're not going out without edim. That is not an option. That option that you said that if there's no children, then you leave. That's not true. So Rav had to say this, speaking about edim. Now, Bahani Masnisan, the Brisa, the Amri Nafki, the Brisa says that beloy bonim, b'medavar mamurim beloy bonim. That Brisa is Rebbe Amrinu. Rebbe said it. The mafke ishami ba'ila b'kol kol dahu. Okay, so let's see the kash. Let's see the teretz. Rav said what our Mishnah says. You go out. The Mishnah says you go out. You go out with. You shouldn't take her, but if you take her, you go out. Is speaking with his edim that she had done something wrong. Edim and mashma, there's no edim that she did anything wrong. They could stay together. Good. What motivated Rav to say that? Because it says hoitziuha. They Bezdin made a leave. Bezdin making a leave has to be what? Because of edim. That's one pshat. Another pshat is that no, if there's no, even without bonim, you'd stay together. The Brisa says without bonim you leave. That's according to Rebbe, and Rav argues on Rebbe. And Rav argues on Rebbe. So let's see Rebbe. Let's meet Rebbe where we see Rebbe saying this, that a koil without edim, you have to leave if there's no children. Where do you see that? The Tanya. Roichel is a peddler. He's a perfume salesman, and he's found in women's houses. No, not the lady. He's more like the mailman. Now, Roichel hayoitza v'isha chageres b'sinar. The Roichel is walking out of the house, and the woman is adjusting her sinar. A sinar is a garment, an undergarment that women would wear, probably like a girdle they would wear. And obviously she's adjusting it. She is putting it back on. She had taken it off. Amar Rebbe, hoyel mechura dava. Since that dava is mechura, what she's doing. In other words, there's a strong possibility that something wrong went here. Tate say she has to get divorced. Roik l'maylim and akila. If there's roik at the top of the mashma during relations, somehow some spittle came out. Amar Rebbe, hoyel mechura dava. Tate say you leave. Min alayim hafuchim tachas amita. If you have shoes that are inverted underneath the bed, it seems like they could see from the bottom of the shoe who it belonged to. So you would invert it. You won't be able to tell because you had an imprint in the schmutz. So this is a way of avoiding identification. Amar Rebbe, hoyel mechura dava tate say. Why don't you just look at the shoes? Forget about the impression they're making. Just look at the shoe. It's speaking about what? It's speaking about what? That the shoe is inverted, so you have the imprint, but you don't have the shoe. Bottom line, you have machlokas between Rav and Rebbe. Rav says without edim you're not going out. Rebbe says a rumor alone will enough to take you out. The Rebbe. 1 second, kasha hilchas al hilchas. You just told me 2 conflicting halachas. Rav says a rumor doesn't get you out. Only edim. Rebbe says even a rumor like kasha. Ha b'kola de pasik, ha b'kola de loy pasik. Right? If it's a kola that keeps on going and a kola does not keep on going. Kola de loy pasik v'leka edim ke Rebbe. If the kola is ongoing, it doesn't stop, then it's like Rebbe. In other words, it's not a one-time shot. It's mamish, right? Then, even though there's no edim, then you get divorced. Call it the pasuk, the ika edim kirav. Okay? The call it the pasuk at kama. How long? Amar Rabbi, Amri liyem. Right? Dume demasa yuma upalda. Okay, we'll do this tomorrow. We'll pick it up here tomorrow. Okay, I'll probably say share in the morning. It doesn't look like a very hard daf, so share probably will be in the morning sometime. Okay. Thank you for listening, everybody. Have a good night.